Welcome to our Wisdom Wednesday post with How Rich People Think. Now, we are going to be covering the next 3 short lessons in this series today, 7, 8, and 9. And if you've been keeping up with the prior 2 posts, you will have hopefully been able to glean some value from some of the important concepts in this book presented by Steve, okay? This book helps you to get an idea about the difference in thinking between people who are, as he considers in this book, world class are the people who have wealth, okay? And then he refers to the other people as middle class, which are the kind of like the commoners or the people who barely have enough or who are doing just enough to make it. So he compares and contrasts the world class with the middle class to help you to understand that wealth is not about money and physical things, but that wealth is about thinking. I love this book because it helps people to understand that money is energy. If you extrapolate on the principles in this book, you really start to understand, if you don't already, that money is about energy and money is about opportunity and freedom. Money is also about a mindset in terms of poverty is a state of mind as well as wealth is a state of mind. And if you have an abundance mindset, you can create abundant and prosperous experiences in your life. If you're not experiencing abundance in whatever area of your life that you want to, it's important to look at what it is you are creating and what the energy is, or the engine is behind what it is you see in your life. That's going to come from your emotional energy, your vibratory frequency, and your mental energy, where you spend your time, how you think, the ideas that you formulated. In other words, your belief systems, the BS that governs your life. So it's important to constantly be open to learning new ways of assimilating information so that you can direct your life in a way that feels good and in a way that is empowering you. So let's take a look at lesson 7. A wise man should have money in his head, but not in his heart. Okay? He should have money in his head, but not in his heart. Perhaps meaning the emotions related to money. We need to be thinking logically about money. Money is about mindset, okay? So let's take a look at this. In this particular short lesson, he's talking about money being about status for middle class people. But for world class people, money is about freedom. Now, that's an easy concept to understand. More money, more freedom. Not more money, more problems. More money, more freedom. Freedom from what? Freedom to do what should be your God-given right and is your God-given right. But the pursuit of life, health, and happiness in the paradigm in which we live, the third dimensional realm, has everything to do with your ability to, almost in an unfortunate way, buy your freedom. I mean, let's face it, water is not even free. All right. We're being charged to go to state parks and to experience nature and so many other things. So when you have your freedom, you have the ability to make a whole different set of choices. Among the many money issues misperceived by the general public is the notion that acquiring great wealth is about more than it's more about showing off. Okay, for the middle class, creating wealth is more about showing off rather than creating freedom. While money certainly brings status, it's acquired mostly for the purpose of attaining personal liberty. All right, I'm skipping some. When you're worried about making your next mortgage payment, he says, how are you going to really stand up for freedom? How are you going to really make a contribution when you have those basic concerns? What I'm going to say about that is I'm going to reflect on Maslow's hierarchy, which is something we study as educators in college. At the lowest level, and the same with Bloom's taxonomy, at the lowest level, you have concrete thinking. You have the basics. At the lowest level for Maslow's hierarchy, you have your survival needs. When your survival needs are not met, you have very little time to contemplate higher matters in life. You have very little time to put energy into creative pursuits. The bottom line is, when you're struggling to put bread on the table, you don't have a lot of time to act out your passions and to discover what you're good at, and to make the kinds of contributions to not only your family and your community, but to the greater world at large, that really are things that you came here to do. So when we talk about freedom. Freedom is something that you deserve and something that you are born with. But freedom can be maximized and leveraged when you're able to meet your most basic desires. People who have wealth can afford to buy their way out of unhealthy work environments, unpleasant situations. They can get the best doctors when they're sick. When they want to voice their opinions, they call their congressman, who doesn't even consider not returning their calls. If they need more money, they throw a party or hold an auction and charge $1,000 a ticket. I don't know about all of that, but what I can tell you is when you get used to attracting a certain amount of money, other than the normal ups and downs in life, you have a frequency, you have a certain vibration that will allow you to continue to attract those levels of money. It's no different than when you, I take what I make now versus what I made a decade or even more ago. I can't ever see myself going back to what I used to make many years ago because of where I am now and what my expectation is and what it is that I attract into my life in terms of opportunities, because I'm no longer at the place that I was at when I was a beginner doing this work or doing whatever work that I used to do. You can't see yourself. It's no different than if you go to school. I'm giving a concrete example, and you get a degree and it allows you to make more money. You don't ever have to really worry about going back to making what you were making or what you would have been making before you graduated from college, because you have elevated, right? You have up-leveled some. But well, you do that as well from an energetic place. When you begin to make money, it makes it more easy to make more money. And the less worried you are about money, the more money you actually bring in. The more worried you are about money, the less money you actually bring in. The example of how money buys freedom are endless. The middle class and world class might live in the same world, but they do not share the same level of freedom. Okay, we're on to point 8, okay? Oh my goodness. And I didn't read this quote before, but look at what it says before I made the last statement. The only thing that money gives you is the freedom of not worrying about money. So you can switch that around and you can literally say that the less you worry about money, the more money that you will actually have. All right. Middle class believes more money, the more stress you experience. The world class believes the more money you earn, the less stress you experience. The average person believes high income equals high stress. What's that song? More money, more problems. If you believe more money, more problems, that's actually a limiting belief that will keep you in a cycle of impoverished thinking. College students are often advised to focus on their studies on a field that will allow them to earn a respectable salary while being able to enjoy their lives, implying that making big money will make them miserable. Now, for those of us who haven't gone into our money story, okay, our money chaos story, our money narrative, and looked at the beliefs we have that have turned out the life that we have, we may not realize the multitude of beliefs that we have that really aren't working for us. And this is what we're going to work on starting next week when we begin our financial fitness fast, or our financial fitness challenge, I should say. We're going to talk about some of these limiting beliefs that are really, really holding you back and how they can hide. Most stress created in business and relationships is caused by a lack of money. So the more financial resources you have, the less stress you will experience. Think about some of the reasons for why things didn't work out in your life. And we're not saying money is the panacea for everything. It most certainly is not. But what is being said here, and what you need to be willing to take a look at, is that money provides opportunities, resources, and when we have access to resources, information, opportunities, situations that can improve our lives, it reduces the level of stress, it reduces the level of hardship and difficulty, and it gives us options. Stress is what creates problems in life. Stress creates health problems in life. We know today that our thoughts manifest as things, including disease. So if your thinking is not right, your life is not going to be right. Some of the things that can aid your thinking, although it's not going to clear up your situation with regard to what you're thinking. If you're thinking negatively and you have distorted thinking and you don't believe in what is possible, but stress affects the way you think, and then the way you think can affect your levels of stress. At the end of the day, Stress destroys happiness. Stress destroys opportunities. Stress creates health problems. Stress makes you emotionally and mentally uncomfortable. So when we have money, life is simply easier, mostly because we have the freedom to discover things that would otherwise not be available to us. He also speaks to corporate employees earning six-figure salaries and a bevy of bonuses are actually part of the working class poor. The people who earn more money or earn even into six figures and multiple six figures are actually a part of the working poor. Now, the working poor, I'm saying, even though he's not qualifying it in here, are people who work every day but are one or two or three paychecks away from being homeless. People who work every day but may not have a savings. We know today that 75 to 80% of Americans have difficulty coming up with $1,000 cash if they had to without asking anyone. This is a major, major issue. So what he's saying is that these otherwise intelligent people rarely realize that with a few adjustments in their belief systems and behaviors, they could earn more money than they currently earn in a year. They could earn that in a week. He's also talking about people spending more money than they actually earn, all right? They spend more than they make. So he talks about the belief that blocks them is that they think that the only way to earn money is by leveraging their time. Well, to earn money by making more use of your time, meaning working more hours. And that in and of itself is a flawed thought. I totally agree with that because we are not conditioned in this society to look for opportunities to make passive income. And as long as you think that the more money, the harder you work, the more money you save, that the way that you're going to amass wealth is going to be, you're going to reach your goals. It's not that you're not going to reach some of your goals. It's just that there's an easier way. Do you want to pull the load or do you want to push the load up the hill? What is really going to be a little bit easier for you? And when we think about the ways that we can earn more money, we're not socialized to think about passive income. You don't learn about that in school. In your economics class, you don't learn about that when you're talking about social studies and careers. So you grow up thinking that you work, you work, you leverage your time, you take on more hours, you take on more responsibility. If you don't have enough, you get another job. So we think at a very small level. We don't recognize that there are ways to make income while you sleep. We don't recognize that there's such a thing as having multiple streams of income, and that should be a standard, that everybody should have multiple streams of income or should be aspiring to have multiple streams of income, or that we should be teaching our children. We think that having multiple streams of income is something that is reserved for the rich and wealthy. That's absolutely ridiculous. We don't recognize that instead of stashing our money under our bed, there's nothing wrong with having some cash on hand, a little bit of putback like our forefathers did. But by the same token, if your money's sitting under the bed, it's not earning interest anywhere. It's not growing. Okay. When you look at the discretionary income that people waste on a day-to-day basis buying things that they simply clearly do not need, that's money that should be thrown to debt or be thrown to the stock market and investing or purchasing real estate or something that is going to grow and have a reward. We have to start thinking about ways to grow our money while we sleep. It's just that simple. So I really, really love this chapter. Number 9, which is the last one, is the middle class believes that it's shrewd to be cynical, while the world class believes that it's shrewd to be optimistic. So again, we're talking about the way we think, and I'm going to read this quote here for you. Money is only used for 2 things. One is to make you comfortable, and the more comfortable you are, the more creative you will become. And the other purpose is it enables you to extend the service you provide far beyond your own presence. So meaning it allows you, money allows you to make more money. Money allows you to put things out there that other people can partake of to enrich their life. He's also saying that money makes you more creative. Well, we've talked about that. How does money make you more creative? Because money gives you more time. When you have more time, when you have less stress, which money allows you to have, you have time to to rise in Maslow's hierarchy in Bloom's taxonomy. Okay, at the very basic level, you have the most concrete things that you need in order to survive. As you go up each level to reach self-actualization or to reach a higher level of thinking, you can't get there if you are at this level of thinking. When you raise in your level of thinking, you raise in the level of opportunities that are available for you. In the same way, when you raise in your vibration, you raise in the level of opportunities that are available to you because you're at a certain vibration. I am living this reality. I'm so not making this up. I am documenting my journey as I go along, and I test myself right now. With everything that's going on with this shut-in and sick-in stuff, it's a perfect opportunity for me to see that everything that I preach and everything that I talk about and all the principles by which I have been making an effort to live by are actually very real. And that you experience hardship to the extent that you experience hardship up here. And as long as you let your external environment determine what you feel you can create, you'll be stuck in a cycle of impoverishment, and not impoverishment in terms of money, but impoverishment in terms of opportunities and resources that you may not be able to leverage, that you have the ability to leverage, and that you have the right to leverage. So the more that you see this landscape as a landscape of opportunity that is only limited by the degree to which you believe you are limited, self-imposed limitations, that's really the reality. The degree to which you feel limited is the reality that you'll be limited. Literally, this earth is abundant. God is abundant. Creation is abundant. We see abundance around us all over the place, but we still don't believe in it. So this chapter is about thinking as well. He makes the point very early on in the chapter about fear-based thinking paradigms that saturate the minds of the middle class. He says the majority of the population operates from fear-based thinking and embraces the limiting belief that cynicism is their best bet. After all, if I don't expect much, I won't be disappointed, right? World-class thinkers rise to riches through optimism. They believe that everything they touch will turn to gold. They don't believe in failure per se, or they perceive failure as an opportunity. They see failure as part of the journey. And so when you fail, it's not looked at as like, oh my gosh. If you begin to embrace failure as part of the journey, then you're not afraid to fail. Then what does that allow you to do? It allows you to keep on trying. I love this part right here. I circled it. Optimism is the psychological insulator. You'll probably hear me use that from now on. I love that term or that phrase. Optimism is the psychological insulator that keeps people who are prospering moving forward. Make no mistake, the great ones do fail. As a matter of fact, they fail so often that you might label them professional failures. The difference is when the masses fail, they get depressed and often never attempt anything substantial again. They give up. They give up. Figure it out for yourself, my lad. You've all the greatest men have had 2 arms, 2 legs, and something, and a mind to use if you would be wise. George Washington Carver, Figure It Out for Yourself, my lad, is one of my favorite poems. And so is our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we're powerful beyond measure. Okay, it is our light, not our darkness, that we are most afraid of or that we most fear. Who am I to be talented, gorgeous, beautiful, fabulous, whatever it says. The point is, you got to change the way you think. You come here to this planet with the same thing as everyone else does. You have to equalize the playing field regardless of what your external circumstances are by using this and by using this. While the skeptics search for new ways to explain the shocking success of their friends or relatives, the rich are already on to their next project that promises to make them even wealthier. They've learned to ignore critics who sit on the sidelines and scorn their success, all the while being optimistic that someday they will see the light. Truth is something that has to be experienced. It's not something you can tell someone. You can share it. You can talk about it on your platform. You can vent. You can be on your soapbox. But when it comes down to it, if a person doesn't have a growth mindset, if they have a fixed mindset, there's not very much you can do for them. But when you start to experience what is possible for you in this life, and you recognize life is not supposed to be a struggle, and that any struggle that you are experiencing has not to do with the external events that you're actually dealing with, but everything to do with how you are approaching life, how you are processing life, how you are metabolizing life, then you will understand that you really do create your own reality. But like I said, truth cannot be, you cannot convince someone of the truth. They have to experience the truth, or the truth has to dawn upon them. So as you move forward in your journey today, just look for the ways that you may be imposing limiting beliefs on yourself. Look for the ways that you are not expressing the fullness of your gifts and talents. See if you can't draw a relationship between your financial situation and what maybe some of your beliefs are. We all have a money set point about what is possible in terms of what we can experience in our financial life. And it's important for us all to be able to understand literally what that is. And we're going to talk more about that in our Financial Fitness Challenge, which we're going to start next week on Monday. Have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful afternoon, evening, morning, or whenever it is that you tap into the Wisdom Wednesday, How Rich People Think.